From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to the March 8th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jacqueline McClary.
And I'm Fred Shropshire. Thank you for joining us for a look at Carolina events and issues. Better grades don't always mean better students. That's according to a new report released by UNC-Chapel Hill's Educational Policy Committee that says grade inflation is rampant on campus. Students and faculty met with the authors of that report, and Carolina Week reporter Jason Morrell was there.
Grade inflation among very high-priced private schools.
Professor Boone Tershi, author of a new controversial report on grade inflation at UNC, received feedback Wednesday night from concerned students and faculty. The report says the current UNC aggregate GPA of 3.0 is too high and should be lowered to 2.6 and 2.7. This means students' A's and B's could soon become C's and D's. The report cites possible reasons for grade inflation: students taking lighter course loads, faculty spoon-feeding the material, grading standards declining, and students gravitating to easier courses. But Afro-American Professor Robert Porter says these aren't the reasons grades are higher.
There is not grade inflation on this campus. The fact of the matter is the students are better than they used to be. I've taught here long enough to know that students are better than they were 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Several students, like sophomore Annie Pierce, said UNC shouldn't be the first university to address the national trend of rising GPAs.
We're not number one, and we're falling further and further from number one. So I think that maybe we should keep that in mind. Maybe if we were Harvard, we'd be able to pull this off without a hitch. But we're not Harvard, and I think there's going to be a lot of hitches to come that's going to ruin lots and lots of futures for very, very intelligent people.
But junior Emma Richardson says grade inflation is a problem that needs attention.
I know, for example, I have a lot of friends who are management and society majors, and they specifically chose that major because they knew they weren't going to have to come to class, they weren't going to have to learn very much, and they'd still get good grades.
Senior Suba Aaron agrees it's a problem, but says Tershi's report is not the answer.
I don't know. I think it's going to adversely affect. I'm not saying that there's no grade inflation. I just think they're going about it the wrong way. I think there needs to be much more of a collaborative effort rather than a mandating this needs to be done.
On the UNC campus, I'm Jason Morrell, Carolina Week.
Professor Tershi said it's the faculty's responsibility to maintain the integrity of the system. The report will need faculty approval before its proposals become policy.
Graduating students are glad they won't be around to see how the grade debate ends. The senior class is one step closer to making graduation day a reality. The university has announced that Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, Stuart Eisenstadt, will give this spring's commencement address. Eisenstadt graduated from UNC in 1964 with a degree in political science. He will speak during the ceremony at Kenan Stadium on May 21st. He plans to talk about how UNC fostered his dedication to public service. Last year's commencement speaker was former presidential candidate Bill Bradley. Elizabeth Dole will speak down the road at Duke's commencement May 14th.
With spring break just ahead, Chapel Hill police are advising UNC-Chapel Hill students to secure personal items to keep them from being stolen. For students living on and off campus, spring break is the prime time for having their places broken into. Jewelry, computers, and bicycles are just a few of the items police report as most commonly stolen. University police officials, along with the Chapel Hill police, set up the Habit program to encourage students to get in the habit of safeguarding against theft. Police especially urge vacationing students to take smaller items with them when they leave.
Items that you can't take with you, lock them in your trunk, out of sight, but don't leave them in your apartment. The smaller the items, the easier they are to take with you. So leave nothing in your apartment.
The university and Chapel Hill police are advising students to lock everything, including windows and back doors. If you can take items with you, take them. Do not leave jewelry, money, laptops, or other smaller items behind. For more information about spring break security tips, contact the Chapel Hill Police at 932-2917 or the University Police Crime Prevention Office at 962-8100.
Many UNC-Chapel Hill students will be baking in the sun next week during spring break, but some will spend their time helping those in need. Instead of sandy beaches and aqua oceans, volunteers with Habitat for Humanity will travel to Honduras. Their mission? Building homes for many in need of shelter. Students interested in the project have prior experience volunteering with Habitat. Members from Chapel of the Cross, a local church, are helping UNC students build the homes. Donations and fundraisers have taken some of the financial burden off students. The group had their final fundraiser on Sunday to collect any last-minute contributions. Habitat for Humanity also sponsors other spring break trips to places such as Camden, New Jersey, and Miami. College students might call themselves independent, but there's one aspect of the adult world they are not willing to face: taxes.
Many UNC students have jobs. Chapel Hill has a number of places in which students can walk to work on Franklin Street. So what do they do with this money come tax time? Junior Aaron Jones has an easy approach.
The money that I make, the form goes back to my dad, and he just fills out one form. It seems really easy, but it's a lot easier. He knows what he's doing, so he can just send it in, and I don't have to worry about it.
For students who don't have an easy way out, there is a campus service to help you with that nasty paperwork. The folks at Keenan Flagler Business School say they're always willing to help for free. Kathleen Lohman, who works for the Masters of Accounting program, wants people to use this tax service.
The Masters of Accounting program in the Keenan Flagler Business School offers this service to low-income people in the community, and that usually includes students on campus also. And it is an official program of the IRS out of the Greensboro office. And the Masters of Accounting students here at Carolina have been doing this for about 12 years now.
After using this service, students can look forward to adding their tax returns to their tips and spending that extra cash.
Students can receive help from the MAC program at the Chapel Hill Public Library on Thursday, March 23rd, Tuesday, March 28th, Wednesday, April 5th, and Thursday, April 13th from 5:30 to 8:30. You can also get help at McDougal Middle School in Carborough on Wednesday, March 29th, Sunday, April 2nd, and Sunday, April 9th from 1:30 to 4.
And along with receiving help with your taxes, you can get help with your medical cost. Every Wednesday since the late 1960s, UNC medical students have operated a health clinic in the Chapel Hill Carborough community. The clinic operates from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and offers free medical assistance to anyone in need. Patients can visit the clinic to ask simple questions or to receive eye exams, prescriptions, or physical exams. Patients of all ages are welcome. While this provides a learning experience for students volunteering at the clinic, each week a certified doctor is also on hand. Second-year med student Gabrielle Schneider says this clinic is a valuable resource.
I think that having the free clinic is extremely important in the community. I have a lot of people that come in that say that they wouldn't be getting care, their kids wouldn't be able to participate in school sports, and they wouldn't be able to get their birth control and pap smears that they need without the clinic.
The clinic is held in the Carborough Health Center located off Lloyd Road behind the Carmill Mall in Carborough. And again, patients can visit the clinic Wednesday evenings from 6 to 10.
It's been 6 months since Hurricane Floyd's waters flooded eastern North Carolina.
But the cleanup isn't over. Find out more when Carolina Week returns.
A freshman's first day in Phillips Hall is a humbling experience. You need to get to the 3rd floor, but not every stairwell leads you there. Just as in life, take the wrong way up and you won't get anywhere. None of the corridors make sense. It's like being in a huge maze at 7:57 while you're looking for your 8 o'clock class. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
What is United Cerebral Palsy? therapy and education, employment opportunities, independent living, family camp, United Cerebral Palsy, building bridges to independence. You see people, we see promise. Call 800-868-3787.
This week marks a big anniversary for people in eastern North Carolina. 6 months ago, floodwaters forced people out of their homes as Hurricane Floyd pounded the eastern part of the state. That was a week many people will never forget. And as Carolina Week's Lee Skinner shows us, the cleanup from Hurricane Floyd continues.
Floyd left many people in eastern North Carolina asking themselves the same question. Today, Patricia Wright is trying to answer that question with the help of a few volunteers from Chapel Hill. Ann Pegram is a sophomore at the University of North Carolina.
Didn't feel like I could really sit back and watch and not do anything. It's the least I can do is come in and put a few hours in to help these people out.
Each volunteer came to Tarboro today for a different reason. Hurricane Floyd brought back memories of Hurricane Fran for Diana Wallace.
Because after Fran, I had a lot of cleanup, but nothing like this. And I thought, well, if I can help somebody else, because I'm just was blessed this time.
So the volunteers came.
Hey, is that everybody?
They carried the Wright's life out to a trash pile at the street, and they watched that trash pile get bigger and bigger.
We're just taking anything that we can find, anything that's, I'm able to lift, chairs or, logs from the fireplace, vases, just everything that's in there, carpets. You just pick them up and carry them out to the road because it's trash. You can't do anything else with it.
While Hurricane Floyd took away most of the Wright's possessions, he couldn't take everything away.
I still got memories, so that's not too hard for me because, you can't take those away.
Now, the volunteers have gotten a lot done today. All of these belongings were still inside the house just 3 hours ago. But with all they've accomplished today, the cleanup is far from over. It will take years to completely rebuild this community. In Tarboro, I'm Lee Skinner, Carolina Week.
Chapel Hill groups are sending relief workers to several towns down east. Nauru Williams spent Saturday in Ahoskie.
I'm very thankful for what I have, and I encourage all people to be thankful for what they have. If you aren't, then look at the Floyd victims and look at them, and I think you'll change your tune.
The next university-sponsored work trip is Sunday, March 26th. If you're interested in helping with UNC Flood Relief, you can call the Carolina Center for Public Service at 843-7568, or you can log on to their website at www.unc.edu/CPS.
Students and faculty packed the Great Hall Monday night in search of multicultural food and fun. At the annual International Festival, American and foreign students lined up to get a taste of some home cooking, but not American home cooking. Festival goers sampled dishes from around the world, including a familiar snack of chips and salsa. After dinner, onlookers were entertained by different performance groups, including Kamikaze, Opeo Hip Hop, and Meismer Rhythm. Students left the festival knowing a little more about their international classmates. In other news, this year marks the 125th anniversary of an event that showed one woman's love for UNC, Chapel Hill. Now her great-granddaughter wants the community to remember her legacy. Reporter Stephanie Maxwell has more on this story.
She was ecstatic that the university was reopening after the Civil War. So ecstatic that Cornelia Phillips Spencer celebrated by ringing the bell at South Building in 1875. But this isn't the only thing she's famous for. Back then, UNC-Chapel Hill was for men only, a policy that frustrated this female Tar Heel. Great-granddaughter Spency Love said Cornelia Spencer felt both sexes should be free to learn together.
When I walk through these halls and libraries, I feel that as the good emanating from them is not confined to one sex and cannot be, any more than the light from a lamp can be made to shine on the men of a company to the exclusion of the women.
Now, 125 years later, women outnumber men on campus, but Love realizes that women still have a long way to go.
Women, despite increases in the number enrolled in college and pursuing PhDs, are still very underrepresented among faculty and still struggle as students and professors to be taken as seriously as their male counterparts.
Spencer was the first woman to receive an honorary degree and was called the smartest person in North Carolina. Now men and women can remember her legacy.
The university has recognized Mrs. Spencer's accomplishments, and now both male and female students live in Spencer Dorm.
Some members of the community say Spencer would be amazed to know that UNC-Chapel Hill still remembers her.
We remember her accomplishments and honor her love for the university and the many things that she did for us. I think she'd be very happy to see Spencer Dorm on campus now.
Though she advocated access to education for everyone, she will always be known as the woman who rang the bell. In Chapel Hill, I'm Stephanie Maxwell, Carolina Week.
Spency Love will honor her great-grandmother by ringing the bell at South Building on March 20th. Tune in to Carolina Week for more on this ceremony.
Well, spring break started a week early for some students who enjoyed tanning not at the beach, but in the quad.
Will the 80-degree temperatures continue? Stay tuned for this week's weathercast.
The second floor of Davis is where students go to pseudo-study. No real studying occurs here. Girls sit in the cushy chairs to scope out guys as they come up the stairs. I've never witnessed the exam break streaking that occurs there, but I'd like to see it before I graduate. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Women's Center, may I help you?
The Women's Center is a nonprofit agency that has served as a meeting place for women in the Triangle since 1979, making it one of the oldest freestanding women's centers in the country. The mission of the Women's Center is to provide a supportive community where all women can inspire each other to grow, both personally and professionally.
I was going through a crisis at home and I contacted Helpline and they referred me directly to the Women's Center.
I think the Women's Center is really important for the community because it offers so many different kinds of resources, and if we don't have the resource here, we can find an avenue or a way for women to find the answers that they need.
It is inspiring. It's so exciting to be a part of something that really matters and really changes things.
You can support the Women's Center through membership or by sending a contribution to the Women's Center, 210 Henderson Street, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27514.
Kimberly, we've got people lying out in their bathing suits. We've got 80-degree weather. It's still the beginning of March. How long is this going to last?
I know, and you know, it's actually still winter, but we're calling it spring break, and we've got 80-degree weather, so it can get kind of confusing to somebody who's not used to this weather. But this 80-degree weather is really, really nice. This lets us into our weather question of the day. Why have we had above normal temperatures for the first week of March? The answer is it A, global warming, B, El Nino, C, it hasn't been above normal, or D, jet stream patterns. Our answer at the end of our weather forecast. Now, while you're thinking about that answer, let's take a trip to an ice motel in Sweden. If you're getting too hot in the U.S., this is the perfect place to cool off. But room temperature here is below freezing. Everything you see, including tables, chairs, and even shot glasses, is completely ice. Your bed, a solid sheet of frozen water. And when you're ready to call it a day, you can have an ice glass of water. I prefer spring in Chapel Hill personally. Well, we certainly have much different weather here in the United States, where much of the country has seen warm weather this week. Take, for instance, New Orleans, the site of Mardi Gras. Though it's officially over, those who were there enjoyed beautiful 80-degree weather. Post-celebration partygoers will experience the same temperatures. In Chapel Hill, we've been enjoying pleasant spring-like weather. As we look into our forecast, that spring weather should continue into Friday. It will be a little cooler with highs in the mid-70s and morning lows in the low 50s. Looking at Saturday, a frontal system will bring us increasing clouds and a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs should reach about 70 degrees. As that frontal system moves out late Saturday, it will bring us cooler weather for Sunday, with highs reaching only about 60 degrees. The same weather pattern will stick around for Monday, and it will be a cool start to the day with partly cloudy skies and warming to 60 degrees by that afternoon. Of course, some of us will be traveling next week during spring break. If you're headed toward that Carolina coast, expect to have warm temperatures on Friday, but a chance of afternoon thunderstorms on Saturday. Sunday's temperature will only reach the mid-60s. For others of you traveling a little farther to the Florida beaches, expect to see sunny skies and warm temperatures. If you're headed to Panama City, temperatures will be close to 80 degrees. But if you're traveling even a little farther to Daytona or Miami, temperatures will be even warmer. So we've definitely had some nice weather, and wherever you're going this first week of spring break, it will be good. A nice weather pattern has been in our area for the past week, which brings us back to our weather question. The reason we are seeing this warm weather is D, the jet stream patterns. So Fred and Jacqueline, the jet stream is actually a warm air that comes above the atmosphere, and that warm air is guiding us to a nice warm month. So hopefully most of this will continue, and maybe your spring break plans evolve around warm weather.
Mine do.
Most definitely.
There are only 3 undefeated college baseball teams left in the top 25 this week, and guess who one of them is?
We'll hear more coming up in sports about the Golden Journey as it's unfolding out of Boshemer Stadium.
I need a break.
Yeah, well, what I need is a little peace and quiet when I come home. I've been working hard all day.
You have got to do something about that son of yours. I can't stand it anymore.
Well, maybe if you were a better mother, he wouldn't be such a problem.
Better mother? When do you ever spend time with him?
Family Counseling Service of Durham. We can help. Call 286-3757.
Let your knowledge grow at the North Carolina Botanical Garden. Through public service, research, conservation, and education. The garden brings North Carolina's rich natural heritage to you. It's a beautiful way to learn.
Tell me about the boys in blue with the bats. I hear they're doing pretty well right now.
Well, friend Jacqueline, it may be blasphemous to say this in Chapel Hill, but the University of North Carolina may be turning into a baseball school. Carolina baseball is off to its best start in school history. The Heels improved to 17-0 after 2 wins over West Virginia this past weekend and a Tuesday win over Western Carolina. The bats are hot for the home team. 9 Tar Heels are batting at least .300. Freshman Sean Farrell was batting .378 as of Tuesday, helped by 2 homers on that day. Clay Hooper, who hit this homer Sunday, is second in batting average behind Ryan Erie's .434 average. Listen out for the ping of more Tar Heel bats at home against Richmond this weekend and for the rest of the month. The Heels play 14 of their next 17 at home. The Carolina men's basketball team extended the program streak of finishing no lower than 3rd in conference play to 36 years. The Tar Heels will be the 4th seed in Charlotte for this weekend's ACC tournament, drawing Wake Forest in the first game. The team split their 2 regular season meetings as UNC used a strong second half to take care of the Demon Deacons February 12th at the Smith Center. Friday's contest should be a battle, with Wake fighting for its postseason life and Carolina trying to wrap up his 26th consecutive NCAA tournament selection. Brendan Haywood played one of his best games against the season against the Deacs at home, scoring 20 points on 9 of 10 shooting. The matchup should come as no surprise, as Carolina has battled Wake Forest more often in ACC tournament competition than any other team. Speaking of the ACC tournament, the women's team came up just short of the title, falling to Duke by 3 points in the championship game Monday night. The big day now for Sylvia Hatchell's team is Sunday, when the NCAA tournament pairings are announced. With their strong showing this weekend, the Tar Heels are now hoping to earn a top 8 seed, which would mean a first-round tournament home game at Carmichael. Kelly Williams of the UNC women's lacrosse team was named ACC Player of the Week for her contributions to a major Tar Heel win this past weekend. Carolina knocked off top-ranked Maryland 14-13 in a thrilling 4-overtime game on Sunday. The Tar Heels rallied from an early 4-1 deficit, holding the explosive Terps offense 6 goals below its season average. Maryland came into the game having won 39 of its past 41 games, but both of those losses came at the hands of the Tar Heels. For those of you staying in town during break, you can watch the 5th-ranked Tar Heels take on Vanderbilt Sunday at Henry Stadium. Tar Heel women's tennis proved that Ivy Leaguers aren't always the cream of the crop. Carolina defeated a frustrated Harvard squad 5-2 on Sunday. Tar Heel freshman Marlene Mejia lost only 3 games during a 4-match win streak. The number 1 seeded Mejia beat Harvard's Santos Galzo like a crimson-headed stepchild, 6-0, 6-1. And Carolina Hill rallied in the second set Sunday at Cone Kinfield Tennis Center for another of the Tar Heels wins, 6-3 and 7-5. Coach Thornquist's Tar Heels have a 4-5 record overall. UNC gymnast Brooke Wilson keeps making things harder and harder for herself. Wilson broke her own school records on the bars and in her floor routine during last Friday night's tri-meet against Towson and Yale at Carmichael. Wilson had set both marks just 2 weeks earlier against James Madison, also on the home Carmichael floor. But it wasn't enough as the Tar Heels finished second behind Towson in the overall competition. Next up for Carolina is the Wolfpack Invitational in Raleigh on Saturday. And we got word just in, guys, that Carolina baseball improved their record to 18-0, extending their school record now to 18 wins to start the season.
Okay, thanks for sports, TD. He's a star on the basketball court, and now he's getting some play time in prime time as well.
Find out what former Tar Heel appeared on the UPN sitcom Moesha on Monday. The story will dribble in when Carolina Week returns.
Finally, tonight, a Carolina sports legend appeared on TV last week, but not for a basketball game. Former Carolina superstar and current Toronto Raptors star Vince Carter made a guest appearance on UPN's Moesha last Monday. He got his 15 seconds of fame off the court, literally. He played a role very familiar to him, a basketball player. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jacqueline McClary. Fred and I, along with the rest of the Carolina Week team, are off next week for spring break. We will be back with you, though, at the beginning of March 29th. Until then, be well and be good. Good night.